I've been having a lot of trouble getting the M8Q-CAN GPS working on the 765 Wing, and I finally figured out what my problem was. Always something. So if we look at the data sheet right here for that M8Q-CAN compass, GPS, barometer, yes, it does all three. Matter of fact, if I remember right, it has a IMU board in it. That might be the M9N5883. I've been working with so many, I get them mixed up. Anyway, let me get to this fix real quick. I kept doing this in the current stable version of Ardupilot, Arduplane. That was my mistake. If you look right here, this is talking about Ardupilot version 4.1, the latest firmware after September 9th. That's not the latest stable version. The latest stable version is 4.0.9. That's why I can't get this stuff to work. So if we go in here to ardupilot.org, go to their docs section, go to Arduplane section, scroll down, our system components, plane firmware is what we're after. Again, plane here, and if you'll look here, our stable version, Maytech 765 Wing, is the 4.0.9 I've been working with. That's also what you'll see down this list of stable versions that have been released over the time period from 3.4.1 through 4.0.9. I don't fly a beta version or I fly the latest stable version. That's why this hasn't worked for me. If I come in here to the latest version and go to the 765 Wing and look at this firmware version 4.1.0, that agrees with this documentation. 4.1. So I need the version with bootloader, not the one without bootloader. So I'm going to click on this, download this to my local machine, close this window. I can close or not close this, it doesn't matter. I'm going to come out here and load iNav. I'm going to come into the firmware flasher. I'm going to load local firmware, that Arduplane with bootloader that I just downloaded. Open that, click flash firmware here. Oops, communication with bootloader failed. Fine, I'll just unplug it. I can hold down the DFU button. Probably just plugging it back in would work too, but we'll just do it DFU, and we'll click flash firmware again, and it is going, erasing. So I'm going to have to check in this deeper. Don't know if that's the latest stable version or what. But I've been trying to get version Arduplane 4.0.9 to work with this MSP GPS, and it's not set up in that firmware. So this is the 4.1.0 version. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the USB cable and reboot the 765 Wing that way. Exit iNav. Go into Mission Planner. Verify my COM port. Yep. Connect. And I've been here many times, especially with the 4.0 software. It says no GPS. We'll come into the configuration section here, full perimeters list, and we want GPS type. We'll go ahead and put that down here, GPS underscore, I think it's underscore type, maybe, does that have to be uppercase? GPS, yeah, underscore TYP. GPS type for GPS 1 is supposed to be 19. Tab, right perimeter. I'll disconnect. Reboot by disconnecting the USB. Reconnect the USB. Go ahead and reconnect. It still says I have no GPS. It's good. That's fine with me, because we also have to go into Serial 3 protocol. I'm just going to grab this chiclet, scroll down near the bottom where I know serial protocols are. The reason I said Serial 3 protocol instead of Serial 2 is because although we have that on the physical Serial 2 port of the 765 Wing hardware-wise, there's a mismatch in Arduplane with the serial ports. We're actually talking about one serial port up the line. So we're actually talking about Serial 3. And we're supposed to change that from a 5 to a 32 to tell it that we have an MSP-based compass, GPS. We'll write those parameters. Okay. Still no GPS fix. We'll unplug from the USB. Plug back in to get a full restart. Good reboot, and we'll click connect. Boom. GPS not any, doesn't say no GPS anymore. It just says GPS no fix. That is what we want. The GPS has actually been getting a lock in the basement today, and there it is. Boom. 7 satellites. There's your M8Q-CAN GPS running on Maytech 765 Wing and Ardupilot. Going to have to look at that a little deeper. Let's try it in here. Install firmware. We have to disconnect to do that. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Current version is 4.0.977. All these are 4.0, so there's no 4.1s in here. Go to beta firmware. Ooh, got a 4.1 beta for rover. Don't have a 4.1 beta for plane. Have a 4.1 beta for copter in the quad, hexa, and all of its flavors, but not for plane. I have to go out and get the custom firmware for plane. So that's strange. So if this 765 Wing was to be put in a vertical platform, any one of these you see here, even a regular helicopter, everything but the plane. That's amazing. Even the sub. Oh no. That's how I would load this. It's a Linux board. No. So that would try to flash it, but it's going to fail. I have to do the chip BIOS. So that's wild. Anyway, version type. Oh, let's see the official 765 Wing for is still 09. Stable through 09. Beta is 10. So there is a copter, rover, sub. Wow, there is no beta of Wing. Development, we got a 410. So personally, armed with this information, at this time, I would say I did get the Maytech M8Q-CAN GPS barometer compass module working on a Maytech 765 Wing and Ardupilot and Arduplane even. But it's not a version I would fly. But it does work. Right there it says GPS 3D fix and 9 satellites. So I have 2 of those GPSs also, in addition to 2 of the M9N5883s and a BN880 compass. 5 compasses I have. GPS compass modules that I have made work on Arduplane. But the M8Q-CAN compasses will work perfectly on my 743 Wing, the H743 Wing. A bet with that small caveat, if you remember, on the 2 M8Q-CAN compasses, GPSs I have. I had one that I bought. So I will switch over to that one and test it. I don't think it will work on this setup I have on the bench because it's not set up with MSP. It had not been implemented at that time. But there's a way I could update it to the latest firmware, which I haven't looked up yet, that would make that second M8Q-CAN work for me, the older one. But both of them work fine on the 743, so I don't need to really jump all those hoops. So I will stop real quick and we will put that other M8Q-CAN on and just verify that it won't work, whereas this identical one that's on it right now does work. So yes, I have verified that my second M8Q-CAN GPS is not up to snuff on the MSP to run on the Arduplane. It does say no fix instead of no GPS, but that's as far as it ever gets. So I'll have to work on updating that to the current firmware version for that compass module, GPS module, and that'll be the end of this. That's why I could not get Arduplane 4.0.9 to work with this GPS. It wasn't implemented. By the way, I can see right now that the GPS on the table is actually flashing green. Let me see if I can get a video of that. It's going to be handheld. So the GPS on the table is actually flashing green now in addition to its CAN light, which it isn't in CAN mode. So that GPS is hooked up. It will not pass data. You can see on the screen. And this one, the newer one, I've got it hooked up to the 743 right now, did just fine in this exact configuration. That's going to complete the GPS portion of the 765 Wing, both in iNav and in Arduplane is actually my target. I made it work. Don't think I did a video exactly, but it works the same. You can see how I've got the thing wired on a 6 conductor DuPont connector. This is the BN880 GPS. It worked fine in iNav. It worked fine in Arduplane. This is the M9N5883 GPS. It works fine in iNav and it works fine in Arduplane. This is the M8Q-CAN GPS. It works fine in iNav. It works fine in Arduplane version 4.1 or above, I would say. Doesn't work in the current version. This second GPS module I had that was old was not working MSP, so it didn't work in the Arduplane portion. It worked in the iNav a bit as just a serial GPS in U-Blocks mode, but not in MSP. I did flash this GPS module up to the current version, and now both of the M8Q-CAN GPS modules are working for me in Arduplane. Before that, this one, like I say, didn't work in Arduplane. I didn't test it much in iNav because I have 2 of them. I will do a video on the firmware flashing of the M8Q-CAN in a different video. That completes the 765 Wing GPS
how to Ardupilot portion.